It's crazy. It's absolutely nuts. I mean, we had even before the book came out, we had some interest in Hollywood, from Hollywood, and we had some people option it, and most often those just kind of turn into nothing, and they did turn into nothing. And we didn't actually get moving on this series until a screenwriter named Gemma Burgess. She was in New York City, and she was riding a subway, and she saw a woman across the way from her. She was reading a book. She was laughing so hard that she missed her stop. And so Gemma went out and stopped her and said, "I have to know what book that is." And she said, "It's My Lady Jane." And so Gemma read the book, and she just immediately saw this vision for this television series. And so she's the one that got it going. She got a producer, Parks McDonald, and then we sold it to Amazon. And then, even then, we hit the COVID, we hit writer's strike, and it still seemed it was never going to come out. And then suddenly, probably a week before the premiere in LA, I was like, I think this might actually be a show. And the fact that they happened to be on the same subway in the same car that day, that was just a twist of fate that set this whole ball rolling. It's different in that our book is young adult, which means 12 years old and up. And but Amazon wanted us to age the characters a bit, so we did that. And so I would not say it's a young adult book on screen. That being said, they kept the spirit of the book, the wittiness, the lines from the Easter eggs from modern stuff, like from Princess Bride to other things. And I just love the spirit of it, and she's such an awesome heroine, and she got the story she deserved. One thing I love about the series is that it is different enough that it feels like you can read the book, get immersed in that universe, and then you can watch the series and feel like you're watching new things, and it's worth doing both, absolutely. No matter what order you do it in. Anytime I described our book, I would say that it was similar to The Princess Bride. It's got a little bit of magic in it. We also took a bunch from Lady Hawk, and if you've watched the first couple episodes, you'll know what I mean by that. And yeah, we just watched those over and over while we were writing and stuff, so those were very big influences. Jane approaches Guilford in our book. He's kind of Gifford and Guilford and G. But when Jane approaches Guilford in the tavern, and the narrator comes on and says, Jane says to him, "Do you come here often?" And the narrator comes on and says, "Jane was the first person in history to ever use that line, and in 2 seconds she would be the first person to ever regret it." And that's a big, huge thing in our book, is that we as the authors would break the fourth wall often and talk to the reader directly and say, "Dear reader, this was the first time, rope was used to do this," and all that kind of stuff. So it was, yeah, anytime the narrator came on, it was just very much things that we wrote in the book. We had to research every little aspect of these people's lives before we could twist it and add some fantasy to it. And so we actually went to England and saw where Jane was born, where Guildford was born, and all the other where they were buried. They have a little monument in the Tower of London that shows where Jane was beheaded. And when we took a tour of it, Beefeater tour, and the tour guide said, "And this is where Jane Grey was beheaded." And the three of us, the three authors, we burst into tears. We were so connected to these characters that we had researched so much that we were just emotionally overwhelmed every time we saw one of their graves, or where Guildford was imprisoned, and he actually carved Jane's name in the Tower of London. We got to see that. It's behind a plastic panel now, and we were just crying the whole time, because these were characters that we had come to know and love so much. We give them a good escape, and what could have been if Edward weren't sickly and died, and what could have been if Jane, who was the original book nerd, I mean, she read 6 different languages. She read Plato in the original Greek, and she deserved a much better ending. She did not want the crown. She deserved a much better ending than she got, and we gave that to her.